Hello everyone, it's Kristen Williams with the Williams team, Keller Williams, your Austin expert, and talking about all things housing. So what I will say is last week when I was looking at our statistics and our numbers, I hadn't really seen that typical summer slowdown. And when I'm looking at all the different metrics, I'm looking at new listings hitting the market, new contracts, what's closing, and what are we getting price reductions on. And everything had been maintaining kind of stable week over week. This is the first week where I did notice a switch. We have fewer listings hitting the market, so that means like less new inventory, and then a lot more price reductions than we've been trending towards week over week. So that just means that those sellers who've been sitting on the market are ready to sell, and so we saw a much larger number of those listings get a price reduction, and we didn't see as many new listings hit the market. We saw the number of sales and pending start to trend down just slightly. So there's still activity. There are still buyers making moves and doing things out there, which is positive and what we want to continue to see. Hopefully that shows up in the numbers. But what that just means is that if you're a seller, then you've got to be really mindful of the condition and the price. If you're a buyer, there's not as much new hitting the market, but maybe pay attention to price reductions because homes are starting to get those reductions if they haven't sold and they're entering into those summer months. So that's what I'm kind of noticing. And then from what's happening out there, the negotiations have been really tough over the last several weeks. We've had repair negotiations and appraisal negotiations, so there's just a lot of conversation. Once you get a home under contract as either a seller or a buyer, that's not the end of your negotiation conversation. So that's one of the things that I feel like our team is really experienced and skilled at, is having those additional conversations. For instance, we just had a home appraisal come in slightly low, and we were able to negotiate with the seller to bring the sales price down. So it's a win for our client, who's the buyer, because they get a lower sales price. And then, when it comes to the condition of your home, I have a listing under contract right now, and my sellers did everything to get that home ready. There were very small things that maybe they didn't address because they were small, and that buyer on that house is still coming at them asking for like the smallest nitpicky things. So just be prepared. If you are a seller, the buyer's expectations of the condition of a home are just really, really high. And I will say, if I'm giving this house as an example, it is so much nicer in condition compared to anything else in that neighborhood. And I've shown a lot of houses in that neighborhood, and I know that this home is much better cared for, and the buyer is still being nitpicky. So I just want to warn you sellers out there, buyers are going to nitpick every little thing that might show up on an inspection. So if you are a seller, just be prepared for that. And if you're a buyer, go easy on sellers if their home is in good condition. Of course, if it's not in good condition, obviously that's grounds for negotiation. I just had an inspection come through that had mold in the AC. Obviously, grounds for negotiation and a conversation, or even a termination. But small things like the electrical not having a GFCI outlet because it wasn't code 20 years ago when the home was built, and now it is code. That might be something you could go easy on a client for. So just kind of giving my perspective on what's happening out there. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the housing market or your journey into real estate over the next couple weeks, couple months, couple years. We're always here to help. So have a great